Hi everybody, it is Mike the Heal Your Gut Guy, and today we are going to learn how to neutralize tracks. And this is important because the majority of your symptoms are coming from tracks. Watch this video because I'm going to share with you some of the tracks that I had and the simple steps that I took to find them and neutralize them. As you watch this video, go down below in the comments and leave a comment. What digestive issues are you dealing with? What is the stressful event that happened around the time that you had your first flare-up? And what do you think some of your tracks are? This is important that you go leave this comment because I will respond to it, and it will also promote this video in the YouTube algorithm. This video is super important because it will get rid of the majority of your symptoms. You can really help somebody out by helping YouTube understand that this video is important, and it will promote it in the algorithm. And I'll really appreciate it. And hit that like button. So what are tracks? Tracks are things that remind us of the initial conflict. And these conflict shocks, they put our organs into overdrive. They put our gut into overdrive. And during the conflict active phase, there's cell proliferation. These extra gut cells help us digest this hard to digest thing in our life, whether it's women or our job or men or money or ambition. There's something you're trying to digest. You just can't digest it. It's hard to digest. It makes me sick to my stomach. I can't figure it out. I'll give you extra gut cells to help digest this. And then when it gets resolved, the body gets rid of these extra gut cells, and that's when we get symptoms. Now, at the time of the DHS, so for example, one of my DHSs was getting broken up by my girlfriend in college. It broke my heart. I cried like a little girl. And when that was happening, my brain was like, all right, so we're prepared when this happens again. What's in my environment? And one of the things that was in my environment was one of those special hot plates, the ones that tear a hole in the space-time fabric continuum, and they go, and they magically heat up. I don't know how they work, but you just plug it in. That was in my vicinity, and I'll share with you more. My wife, she had some tracks where going to the store would give her insane symptoms. And we're still not really sure the whole story about this, but I'm going to share with you what you need to do to neutralize these things, because these things were giving me horrible symptoms. One, I was not aware of it at all. It was like I didn't get emotional every time I used a hot plate, but my wife, on the other hand, every time we go to the store, it was like we were going into a war zone. And I'm like, what? I thought we were just going shopping. And so a track reminds us of the conflict. It's a reminder of the conflict. Hey, last time this was in our environment, we got dumped. So watch out, buddy. And then it puts the organ back into the overdrive, and then when it comes out of overdrive, you get the symptoms. That's what tracks are. And we can also have conflict relapses, which are kind of the same thing, but we can get reminded of the conflict, and then we could also be back into the conflict. Okay? It's one thing to, you gave your girlfriend a red flower, and then she broke up with you. So now every time you see red flowers, you get digestive issues. You're not in the conflict. Your mind is just reminded of the conflict, where it's very different if you're dating a different girl and she's breaking up with you, and you're conflict active again, like you're in the conflict. So I just want to make a quick distinction between tracks and conflict relapses. Tracks are small things that remind us of the conflict. And some are conscious, and some are subconscious. Like, what do I mean by that? So let's say you have a dog that's afraid of newspapers. Okay, you show them a newspaper and they run in fear, and they get some. Let's say they shit themselves. That it would be a conscious track. It's a reminder of the original conflict. And their mind might as well be getting beat. It's so scared. It borders a conflict relapse almost. These two terms are so related. It's almost, they can a lot of the time be used interchangeably, whether it's correct lingo or not. Whereas there's these subconscious tracks where you don't even get emotional on a conscious level. So for example, I got into a really bad fight with an ex-girlfriend over a cup of coffee or over a cappuccino. This is back when I was a holistic nut job, and we believed that her acne was caused by drinking coffee and cappuccinos. And so one day I caught her drinking a cup of coffee like behind my back, and I was just like, "You don't take your health seriously," and da 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 da, and then we broke up after that. So now every time I see a cup of coffee, my subconscious would be going crazy, but consciously, like I wasn't thinking about, oh, wow, she doesn't care about her health, blah, blah, blah. Like I consciously was not thinking that. But after I would drink a cup of coffee, I would like always have diarrhea. But then right after I realized this and made that connection, diarrhea stopped after coffee. Just like that. I didn't have to do anything. All I had to go was go, oh wow, that's silly, that's funny. I wonder why. I think that's why coffee was giving me diarrhea. Track neutralized. Some of these things are subconscious, and you just really need to bring them to the conscious mind, and some are more conscious. And these ones usually require a little bit more work, the conscious ones. So one example, a lot of these tracks are food tracks for us, those of us with digestive issues. One example that I like to refer to is from Dr. Alvin De Leon. He saw a little girl who was dairy intolerant, lactose intolerant, and she said that this happened right after her father died. And so Alvin asked her, what does milk have to do with your father? And she said, well, we would have milk and cookies every night before bed, and now every time I have a glass of milk, I think about that. There's the connection. That's why it's super important to know what the original conflict was. I had a really hard time connecting the hot plate and the coffee back to my original conflict because I didn't know my original conflict for a long time because I have had digestive issues for a long time. But, not my original conflicts, but at least one of my conflicts where I had a big breakup in high school, I had another big breakup in college, and then I had another huge breakup in, like in the 20s, in my 20s. So once this little girl made that connection, she's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Well, okay, that's it. All right, I understand food. I understand milk is safe. I understand I can digest a very easy to digest food, and that the only reason my body's rejecting it right now is because it reminds me of my father's death. I know it's a very morbid conversation to have with like a 7-year-old, but that's how now she can drink milk. Now she can have ice cream and enjoy life like a normal kid. My wife, every time we would go to the store, it was like the second you cross those little scanner things or you pass the security guard who tells you to put on your mask, you pass them, and it was just like, grab the cart, you go here, you go there, and it just starts throwing everything into the cart and is like racing to the cash register, whereas me, I like to mosey around and try things out. Oh, it's a new product, oh, look at this cheese, this looks tasty. She is like running like a maniac trying to get this all, and we don't know what her original conflict is that caused this. But by the time, and so she had thyroid issues, And so by the time we would get to the cash register, her thyroid would be in overdrive, and then it'd be like, okay, we're in the cash register. We have all the things that we need. All right, we can come out of overdrive. And when the thyroid comes out of overdrive, your energy just plummets. And so, like literally, I would get ready to catch her as we would make it to the cash register. But now, before we go shopping, she only had to do this a few times, but now before she goes shopping, she goes, everything's going to be okay. We're not going to run out of any ingredients. I think one day, she used to live in the Soviet Union, so I think one day, she needed to get something, but she went to the store late and wasn't able to get like this vital ingredient for something, and then her mom like chewed her out or something, or berated her, scolded her. I think that's what the original conflict is. And so like every time she goes to the store, she's got to make sure she gets everything before someone else takes it. And that's a real thing in the Soviet Union. We already kind of did the newspaper. How do you make a dog not afraid of a newspaper after it's been beat up by newspapers multiple times? Maybe you pet it with the newspaper, maybe you feed them on a newspaper. Maybe you have a conversation. Maybe your dog's really smart. It's tricky because these same principles apply. They're called biological laws because they apply to all animals. We also assume that they apply to plants and insects. But we'll skip the newspaper one. But if you were to do this for a human, you'd just be like, hey, look, you're probably afraid of the newspaper because your stepdad used to beat you with the newspaper. Huh? Oh, yeah, no, you don't need to be, worry about that anymore. And then we have one thing that I would used to get really worked up on is when I would go answer YouTube comments and I would get an angry comment. Oh, G&M's stupid, you're an idiot, blah, 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 blah. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about, blah, 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 blah. I would get angry and I would want to type like an angry comment. Like I would get angry and, shortly after I'd have to go to the bathroom. I had indigestible anger. How could people be so dumb and not see the value in this? That's what literally went through my head. But later, I changed my perception. Wow, that person took the time to leave a comment. That helps with the YouTube algorithm. That's why you should leave a comment, whether it's positive or negative. This person, usually my clients, what causes Crohn's is indigestible anger. So, it makes sense that I'm going to have to learn how to deal with angry people. So I just changed my perception on the thing that was triggering my indigestible anger. So these are all things that most people are like conscious of. Like, oh, I see a stupid comment and I get mad. Oh, I see a newspaper and I get scared. Oh, I hear a loud sound and I get scared because I was in the war. A bomb hit next to our house in Ukraine. I don't know if it's tied to a program or not, but every time I hear someone slam a door or a car go pow, I'm up like this and okay, all right, I'm not in Ukraine. Putin's not trying to kill me. Going to the store, my wife was somewhat conscious of this. She was borderline conscious of it. She would get into the store and she'd just go automatically. She wasn't conscious of it. And even me, I wasn't even hey, what's going, I was why are you freaking out? We're just going to the store. But when she understood German New Medicine, it was it was in this area between whether it was conscious and subconscious behavior. All right, let's talk more about these subconscious tracks. So for me, it was coffee. And I already told you this story. Me and an ex-girlfriend got in a fight over coffee because I was a holistic nutbag and we broke up over it. And every time I would have, a cappuccino, I would shit my pants. Honestly, I drink the cappuccino and, within the hour, I had diarrhea. A hot plate. The hot plate was very interesting. So with another breakup that I had, this one was in college, the night before we broke up, I went to like a cooking class and they showed me these hot plates and I thought they were like really cool. And then the next day, like I was like, hey, look, I found these like cool, like, aren't these cool? And then she's like, hey, Mike, I actually, let's break up. This ain't working for me anymore. And I was like devastated, wah. And then later down the line, I started getting into the holistic nutbaggery stuff. And, hot plates, I was like, oh, the EMFs, hot plates, like, oh, they're going to kill you, EMFs. And, that would make like, if you just turn, this is, I physically feel this, okay? When you turn on a hot plate around me, it turns on, it goes, starts tearing the fabric of time to heat up the pot. I can feel my gut start to crawl. But I don't feel that sensation anywhere else in my body, only in my gut. And this is like one of these things, it's like one of those aha epiphany moments where you're just walking around, you're not really thinking about anything, and then all of a sudden you just remember, like, whoa. Like, why would I remember that? It was it really wasn't a big deal at all. This coffee thing, like I had totally forgotten about this, but somehow it got stored in my subconscious mind. I fired up the hot pot and I just went, I remember telling my girlfriend about a hot plate, and then she broke up with me like right after college. Why is only my gut crawling and having this weird sensation and not any other of my body parts? And then the puzzle pieces just came slamming together, and now I don't get diarrhea after the hot plate, fully formed stools. Another student, he gets diarrhea every time he takes the dog for a walk. Why does he get diarrhea every time he takes the dog for a walk? Maybe he feels like he's being interrupted from work. What is the morsel? What is the thing we're trying to digest? Imagine you are Pac-Man and you're running around the map trying to get all the little things. What is it that you're trying to digest? I was running around the world trying to digest women. Trying to digest YouTube views, YouTube popularity and ambitions. What is it you are trying to digest? When he takes the dog for the walk, how does this get in the way of his conflict? Or how does it remind him of this conflict? Maybe his ex-girlfriend gave him the dog. Maybe he doesn't like walking the dog. Maybe he doesn't like, he said every time something specifically about putting on the shoes. Maybe the track and the track can be anything. It can be very broad and very vague. He had an incident where, he shit his pants in public and embarrassed himself. I'm guilty of that too. Most of us are guilty of that. But that is a conflict itself. That's its own traumatic experience. So if someone has a conflict that involves shitting their pants in public, I read something online the other day that this woman, she was a teacher, and as a teacher, you get bullied into watching kids do these standardized tests that take like 4 hours, and for that whole 4 hours, you have to sit there and watch the kids. And so this woman had digestive issues, and she couldn't wait the whole 4 hours, but she felt bad for leaving. It's a conflict. Like, she couldn't leave because she felt bad for the kids, because if she left, these kids would have to retake this test. So she stayed and she crapped in her pants, and some of the kids heard it, other ones didn't, and she was crying. She didn't get any sympathy from her boss. She lost. Yeah, that's a conflict. And now every time this person gets put into a situation where they don't have access to a bathroom, that could be the track. I'm leaving the door to go on a walk, and there's no bathrooms in the park. Oh my God, we're conflict active again. Remember last time you did this? You shit your pants in public, and it was terrible. Maybe they're digesting the toilet. The morsel. What is the thing we're trying to digest? The toilet. I need the toilet. If I don't have access to a toilet, I risk shitting my pants in public. This is how we need to kind of like see the world. Another really interesting subconscious track was a pizza. And this guy knew German New Medicine really well. He couldn't figure it out. He could eat bread, no problem. He could eat gluten, no problem. He could eat cheese, no problem. He could eat tomatoes, no problem. He could eat tomato sauce, no problem. But when he had pizza, specifically pizza, he would have violent diarrhea. And one day he was like testing things out and he really wanted to know it. And then one day he was walking and it was like in the shower or something. He went, I got into a huge fight in college over a pizza. I guess where he was from, pizzas were very expensive and he was like a poor college student. And he had paid for the pizza and his friend thought he was going to take the leftovers home. And he was like, I bought the pizza. They're my leftovers. You're lucky I even let you have a piece of pizza. And they got into a huge fight over this. And so every time he had pizza, he would get diarrhea. And once he realized that, once the thought entered his mind and he went, okay, pizza's safe. That's why I'm reacting to pizza. I'm not going to get into a fight every time I have a pizza. Everything's going to be okay. Now he can eat pizza and not have diarrhea. He can eat as much pizza as he wants. So these are tracks. They're pretty mysterious, but they're things that remind us of the conflict. Now, I have more tips on how to like fully heal the tracks and fully address your conflicts and how to fully resolve your conflicts so you're not having conflict relapses in my 30-day guide. It's a video guide. It's about an hour long, and it also comes with a PDF. It's a one-page PDF, and it shows you everything you need to do in 30 days to start getting your symptoms under control and start heading in the right direction so that you can heal. This video will bring you so much value. I've seen people get completely healed. Many people get completely healed where they get their life back just by watching this 1-hour video. Or you can go watch your cat videos, or you can go play video games or waste time on something else. That's up to you. But if you value your life and you value the quality of your life and you want to get a handle on things, watch this video right here. I'm Mike the Heal Your Gut Guy. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'll talk to you later. But go watch this video. There'll be a little box right here. Just click on it, and it will change your life. Bye-bye.